Welcome to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have a very empowering show coming right up with special guest Dominique Antiglio, and she's here today to share with us her new book, The Life-Changing Power of Sophrology. Breathe and connect with the calm and happy you. Now, Dominique is a globally sought-after sophrologist specializing in stress management, self-development, and birth preparation. After studying with the professor and inventor of sophrology, she founded her own London-based clinic and consultancy with an online platform to help people find a better life through the practices of sophrology. So let's welcome to the show, Dominique Antiglio.
Thank you. Hello, Marianne. Thank you very much for inviting me today.
Well, thank you so much for being here and not only sharing your book with us, but also your wisdom on sophrology. I understand this is new to the U.S.
Yeah, it is. It is. My book has just launched recently, so it's pretty new in the U.S. It's been an extremely popular technique in continental Europe since 50 years now. And now it's started to connect beyond continental Europe in London, where I live, and now in the States. So it's an exciting time for the method. Yeah.
Well, and so for our listeners that are new to this, which is pretty much everybody, so you're kind of on the forefront of bringing this to the U.S. What is sophrology?
So Sophrology, it's a self-development and stress management method for body and mind. It's a simple practice that you can practice to start perhaps 10 minutes a day, which takes you to a unique combination of relaxation, visualization, breathing, and a little bit of movement. And that unique combination with specific intentions is actually very transformative for consciousness. And it's a way to really tap into your inner resources and connect to who you truly are and transform the way you live your life, or manage stress, or improve sleep, or lower anxiety. So it's not only a self-development method, it really addresses also all the modern life issue that we have around stress.
So how did you become involved in this work?
So I started my sophrology journey when I was 15-year-old. I actually suffered from a lot of tension, recurrent infection, intense tiredness. I was a student and I was playing basketball competitively in Switzerland at the time. And I wasn't particularly happy at school either. So it's really my body who showed me the way into this practice, because my GP at the time couldn't really find what was wrong with me. He didn't find a medication that was truly helping me, but he could see I was struggling. And he said, "Why don't you see a sophrologist?" Because sophrologists were already very popular in Switzerland at the time. They were part of school settings or hospitals and like private clinics. And I decided to give it a go without really knowing what I would do. And so then I met this amazing sophrologist who showed me some very simple practices. She recorded her voice guiding me through the practice on a tape at the time. That was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And she said, you go home and every day, please practice this for 10 minutes and you come back to see me next week. And I did that, and over 5 consecutive weeks, I practiced every day, and I really discovered a new way to connect with myself. I managed to balance my body and mind and open up not only like a new space within me, but really a new perspective on life. And all my symptoms actually disappeared. My level of energy was back to normal or even better. And I really felt I have a sense of more control over how I feel and my daily life generally. So that was the start of my journey with the practice.
When you started with this practice, was this something that your parents were also involved in and they knew about it, and so they brought you to the sophrologist?
Not really. Actually, it's after seeing these amazing results with me that my father decided to start. So I think in that way, I had pretty open-minded parents, and they were trusting their family doctor and wanting to help me. So they they were really supportive of whatever I needed to do through my journey to feel better. And then my dad started. He was an entrepreneur who had a business, and he was at time quite stressed and anxious. And to this day, we still both practice, and we've dived deep into the practice of sophrology and explored so many things that we regularly still share our experience. And it's been a beautiful family journey as well as my own personal journey.
You got to love that. I mean, especially at such a young age, getting that information, being able to use it, and then you're then practicing it throughout your life.
Yeah. I mean, it's been such a gift, to be honest, because I think when you're young, of course, you're trying to find your identity, who you are. You have to make choices when you're 16, 17 about where do you want to go, what do you want to study. And it's a pretty tough time, I think, for young people. There's quite a lot of pressure. And so sophrology really helped me through all these stages in my studies, becoming an osteopath, and making sure I remained as balanced as possible through my studies, and then becoming a mom a few years ago. This has also helped me. I think we all constantly journey, and I think having some tools to help us remain balanced, or just go to the next layer of awareness is an invaluable asset for life, basically. So yeah, I feel pretty fortunate to have been introduced to sophrology so early on.
Well, and man, I've got a million questions, but I think we better start so our listeners understand like how this all comes together. So how does sophrology work?
So it's a very simple practice. It's a guided practice. So initially you're just guided by the voice of your sophrologist, or through a recording, and you journey through different stage of the method. So the method has 12 levels. Each level corresponds to a specific way of practicing, combining relaxation, visualization, body awareness, and breathing. And each of these levels has a specific intention. And the intention is within exploring consciousness and exploring new resources that can be useful in your daily life. For example, level 1 is all about showing you that you can ground deeper in your body, being more aware of your sensation, using sensation as a way to inform your experience, and start to notice not only that you have sensation, but you can also look for positive sensation within you. And I think we spend a lot of time in this society not listening to our bodies. It's only when our body is screaming with symptoms like I had when I was 15, and I didn't realize the level of tension I had in my body, basically, that I had to go through these health issues to really listen and to learn that my body is a friend, and is constantly informing my experience and telling me when to stop, when it's possible to go to push it further, when you need to rest, and I think so you become more aware of the power of your body, and how you can look after it. And then, for example, level 2 is all about the mind. So you do different meditation, visualization to help you realize that you you have many capacities of the mind. You know, at the moment, the mind is the enemy. Everyone wants to stop the mind and refocus, which is what a lot of us need. But within that ability to calm the mind and to focus, we also have amazing resources in the mind, like creativity, like imagination, and we can, or taking a step back, seeing a situation with a different perspective. And all these simple meditative practice we do help us to connect to these fantastic abilities we have. And as we practice on a daily basis, perhaps those 10 minutes, then we want to discover what this practice does in daily life. So we just observe and see that actually it changes, perhaps initially very subtly, the way we live our life or we respond to experience. But over time, it's a true transformation. And so on, we build a path of self-discovery using that mind-body connection and exploring our value system as well, which is in level 4, which is a very beautiful practice where we learn to connect with what really, you know, is deep in our heart and what really matters to us. Like, is that family? Is that success? Is that health? Is that joy? Or climate? Or what is it that really makes us, you know, wake up in the morning and be the person we are in the world? And that's another very useful insight to clarify and to be able to use as a guide in our daily life.
Now, how important is that, being able to use this in different, in different parts of our life, when we talk about when people are going through stress or they've got different things going on, anxiety, overwhelm, you know, and it seems that this has come to our society at such a perfect time because there's so many people that have these type of symptoms and they're just told, take a pill, you know?
Yeah, gosh, yes. I think, you know, sometimes you have to take a pill, unfortunately, to you know, not to go crazy or to be hurt, or, you know, so I always, of course, you know, support that you have to follow the advice of your doctor, but then on the side, you can transform, you know, like eventually those pills might not be needed anymore because you've transformed your life sufficiently, or your lifestyle, or your way to think, or to connect with yourself, that you can compensate and kind of live a better life. So you know, having those tools like as early as possible. I'd love to see this more in schools and in for youngsters, because I think the earlier you start, the more attentive you're gonna be about your health and your mental health, and have something simple you can lean on when life becomes difficult or where you feel challenged, you know, and I think it's definitely an invaluable tool to have.
I think so too. I mean, gosh, could you imagine how kids would be if they're growing up learning this information at the school level, and they can take that with them? It's a tool, like a life skill that they can use throughout their entire lifetime.
Yeah, gosh, because, you know, I think it's all good to learn the mathematics and all the stuff they learn at school. It's useful in life, but if you're not happy, or you're not confident, or you're not clear how you want to use all that knowledge, then it's not really useful, is it? So I think, yeah, it's such an important, and I think it becomes more and more important as society develops, as social media develops, as the stress and the pace and the demands of modern life increase. I think, you know, I'm surprised it's not a part of every school at this stage, because, you know, we with the amount of pressure we put on our kids, I'm a bit worried about what kind of generation we're preparing, you know, and because they have, I mean, at least I can see this in London, the kids, they are the most busy one, and the one that are sometimes their parents find it even hard to bring them at a Sophrology session, during the week, because they have so many activities going on for school and after school that they struggle to just sit down for 30-minute practice, So it's the time we live at the moment.
It most definitely is. And, and gosh, I'm so glad that we're able to really dive into sophrology. And I think one last base question so people can really understand is what's the origin of sophrology?
Yes, so the origin of Sophrology is in Spain. It's a neuropsychiatrist that developed the technique. He was a student in psychiatry in the 60s in a hospital in Barcelona, and he was witnessing all the treatments at the time they were giving to psychiatric patients, like, for example, insulinic comas or electric shocks. And he was a little bit shocked by these treatments, saying, okay, there must be a way that we can help consciousness without having to shake it so hard, and so he decided to go on a journey of exploration of consciousness, and how can we help consciousness with the knowledge of Eastern tradition like yoga, meditation, Zen or Buddhist meditation, and he blended it with Western science, neurology, psychology, phenomenology, and came up with that unique system where it's not only a combination of different practices, but also he simplifies a lot of the concept to adapt them to modern life and to the fast-paced society, really. So these techniques and this discovery you do with the journey you do is really an easy one, because I think everybody should be able to access more calm and more happiness. It shouldn't depend on how much you can bend your spine on a yoga mat, or how calm your state or your brain is to do a meditation. I think it should just show that everyone with a little bit of practice can actually get to that space where they feel more comfortable and calmer. And I think that's the true gift Alfonso Caicedo gave us. That's his name.
I think that's so important, because a lot of times people feel that if they get, started on the practice where they're either doing meditation, mindfulness, or even as you mentioned, yoga, that it's something that takes many years to develop. And most people get frustrated because they're I just don't have the time to invest in this when I'm already pressed for time for everything else.
Yes, totally. Yeah, and I think, Sophrology, it's really a matter of a few sessions to develop a system and understanding what works for you, and because we all relax differently. Some people need to move, and some people, they say unless they go to the gym and really get the energy out, then they can sit down and be a bit calmer. Some people, they're simply exhausted and they need to lie down, and that's the kind of resting and kind of mindful rest. That's what they need. Some people relax through visualization. Some people connect with body awareness. And I think Sophrology has got that diversity and as well as a very clear path that you can take to that, it's like you do a certain sequence of very simple exercise that you can repeat, and it's quite clear. It's not complicated, and that that usually allows everyone to just get to that new level of awareness and a new level of calm.
Yeah, and they're able to transition in their life in a totally different way by using this information. And it's interesting because we've covered some of the things that sophrology can be used for. We talk about kids in school and people with stress. What are some other ways that people are using this?
So on the continent, that's the way we prepare for birth. So in France, Switzerland, Belgium, or Spain, often the obstetrician or the midwife will either refer to a sophrologist or be sophologists themselves, and they will guide you to these different exercises to prepare for the birth and prepare for motherhood or for fatherhood. So there's all this positive visualization. We practice the breathing and also, all these aspects of what are your values. I mean, they're all really interesting things to explore when you're about to have a baby, because then I think life becomes pretty full, and so it's really nice to have that kind of clarity at the beginning of the journey. And sophrology doesn't say every woman has to have a natural birth, and we really help women to have the resilience to cope or to positively deal with whatever their birth journey will be. So we also prepare for, any other type of birth that the woman wants, or sometimes we have no choice of the birth we're going to have, and I think what's important is that we can feel good about it and feel empowered and feel resilient when we need. So that's one field we work with. There's also the athletes. So a lot of top athletes have been known to practice sophrology on the continent. Notably the Swiss ski team in the 70s, they were using a lot of sophrology with one of my teachers there. And the stage artists, they've had a sophrologist backstage in The Voice in France, like this program, TV program, and so it's consciousness. So you can pretty much use it within any field to empower people.
On that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. We've been speaking with Dominique Antiglio in regards to her new book, The Life-Changing Power of Sophrology. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne. We'll be right back after these messages.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
There comes a moment when you realize you're somewhere special, when you discover that each beautiful creature that you see has been rescued from a life of absolute horror and brought to this incredibly free place. Here's where their lives were forever changed and where yours will as well. Discover over 500 tigers, bears, and lions at the brand new visitor center at the Wild Animal Sanctuary just outside Denver. For more information, visit wildanimalsanctuary.org. Discover true freedom at the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
Have you ever had the sense that your thoughts might actually be doing something? Ancient secrets of manifesting have been masterfully revealed in the award-winning book Manifesting 123 by Ken Elliott. For the first time, the author's experiences and stories in this book describe exactly how your thoughts can create anything. You've been doing this all your life, but it's never been fully explained for you until now. Visit manifesting123.com for more information today. Manifesting123.com.
There are nearly 2 million Americans living with amputation. Many live right here in San Antonio. Becoming an amputee can be scary, frustrating, isolating, but there's no reason to feel alone. The San Antonio Amputee Foundation is here to help support you and guide you toward resources such as home and car modifications and even prosthetic limbs. For more information or to make a donation, visit saamputee.org. We'll help you live a full, active life, one step at a time. San Antonio Amputee Foundation, healing limbs, hearts, and souls.
and welcome back to Moments with Marianne. We're here today with special guest Dominique Antiglio, and she's sharing with us her new book, The Life-Changing Power of Sophrology. Now, Dominique, before we went for break, we were talking just of how empowering this practice is. I'm sure you get a lot of people who say, gosh, I could use this for childbirth, for my sporting events, for school, whatever it is they need to use in their life to bring themselves back to that place of being in that present moment of awareness.
Yeah, and not only being present, because that's one of the aim of Sophrology, but also change the relationship we have with future. So, for example, with exams preparation or any event that you're about to do, it's really important to be able to have that clarity, that focus, and that confidence that things can actually go well. And sometimes you need to almost train the brain into that new awareness and that new possibility that you can do this. And Sophrology uses a combination of body awareness and visualization to get to that space where you can do that, and that's an invaluable feeling to have on the day when you have to perform to your best ability, having that confidence also in the fact you're resilient, that you so Sophrology works on the present, but also our relationship with the past, with the future, and it's quite unique in that sense as well.
So how does Sophrology unlock potential, our innate potential that we all are looking and striving to have in our lifetime?
Yeah, I think, it's the potential is within us, so I think it's about learning with the different tools to get to that place where you are connected with this potential. That might be through a positive memory. For example, people who are not confident towards a certain situation in life. For example, last week I saw a youngster preparing for their exam for June, and she's a very confident girl in many aspects of her life, but just that test time, that revision time, she literally freaks out, So we use some positive memories, like in the relaxed state with the eyes closed, being grounded in the body. Then I ask her to look for a positive memory that she has about feeling confident. And there were plenty in other aspects of her life. And then we use that sensation, those images to kind of inform how they feel at this moment, and then help them project themselves in other situations. So we have many techniques we can use. But I think in essence, the technique itself is designed to bring all your positive results. That's exactly why Sophrology has been created. So if you just follow a normal, traditional Sophrology program, you will inevitably start to unlock your potential. This will just, that's what the technique is for, really.
So if people are looking to develop greater confidence and success, that's something that they can use this for?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever success means for them, I think we don't define, what the resource people need to develop. I think it's really through a journey beyond the mind. They close their eyes, they are in this relaxed state. And through the exercise, sometimes we ask them certain question, or we ask them to look for an image or sensation. And as they go along and they discover and they relax, it's almost like consciousness unveils, and there's something else that comes there that maybe when you're fully alert in your daily life, you don't have those insights, and these are all inside you, and it's just a matter of being able to connect, or simply be in a state where you're relaxed and where you're not thinking and you're just happy there. And then I think the result just appears in your daily life after. You just realize, oh gosh, today I was more relaxed, or today I didn't argue with my boss because what he said just didn't resonate in the same way, or perhaps I was able to go to bed earlier because I was less anxious. Or I think as people practice, they just discover what their resilience is ready to do for them.
Yeah, I would agree. It was interesting in your book. You have places where people then can listen to audios that
Yeah.
correspond with different things. And one was like the body scan. I'd love for you to share a little bit about that with our listeners.
So, sorry, I didn't understand the question. Would you like me to talk about the body scan?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
And,
yeah, sorry.
and
yes.
also the corresponding audio that goes with it, because most people,
Yes,
when they
yes.
get a book, it doesn't have these great audios like your book does.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, definitely. When my publisher approached me to write this book, I said, yes, I'm happy to write a book, but Sophrology is most importantly a practice, and we can talk about it for ages, but I think the best way is really to listen to an audio and to connect with your body and just feel what Sophrology is about. So the body scan is the introductory exercise we usually do either standing or sitting. It's a way to, like in many other practices, we connect to the awareness of the body, but we do this through 5 different regions of the body, because Sophrology's got 5 systems, we call them. So they're inspired from the chakra model of the Vedic tradition in India, and they've kind of rearranged into 5 regions. And through these 5 regions that we activate through different exercise of movement, sometimes we can also use the sound of the voice to activate this region, or just concentrate on these regions with the breath. So that we do after body scan. So the body scan is that first encounter with those systems, locating them, inviting them to relax perhaps, and that allows to dive into that alpha brainwave state where we're in tune with another layer of awareness, basically.
I love how you have the case studies in your book as well that talks about the different experiences that people have had using these techniques to improve their lives.
Yeah, it's I wanted to show the extent of what you can do with Sophrology. One is a tennis player, and he explains about how Sophrology has been a game changer for when he gets a little bit uncomfortable on the court and thinks he's gonna start to lose, and just to strengthen his mind. One is actually a psychoanalyst that has done a lot of work on herself, and I think for her the connection and that deep connection with the body we do with Sophrology has been really a life changing awareness, that suddenly everything that she had understood with her mind was able to kind of sink into the body and just go to that next level of healing for her. One also has suffered from post-traumatic stress, so she explains how Sophrology has changed her life in the sense that it's given her more control over her symptoms and made her aware that she's responsible of her health, and she can actually decide what she wants to do with her health, so feeling more in control. So there's several lovely lovely stories that my client have been so nice to share.
Well, I appreciate that, because it shows people how they can bring everything together and how this works for, in their lives. You touched on something a couple times, and I'd love for you to expand on this, because a lot of times when people think, "What I can make this work for my future," I mean, how does that happen?
So, of course, you don't know what your future is, but I think, when you're confident that you can do things in life, that you have the resilience, where you have a clear picture of how you want to feel in your future, or what is it that you want to achieve, when your value system is clear and you're in line with yourself, I think you are giving yourself the best possibility to be happy now and in future events, you know. So I think that's what the Sophrology journey is about. It's about clarifying who you are, giving you all the tools to connect, but also make you kind of in a positive, expectation about the future. That future is about hope. It's about, even when time are difficult, I think if you manage to keep that sense of hope going forward, and trusting that because you have this resilience and because you have tools, you end up knowing that this can be okay, you know. And that's a very different way to go through your life than feeling fearful or anxious, or not even connecting to this ability to envisage the future in a positive way.
Can this also be used for maybe past experiences that have really maybe negatively impacted somebody, that they can reframe that?
Yes, totally. I think, sometimes when we've been hurt, or when we've had difficulty in our past, the consciousness just focus only there until this is kind of solved, you know. So Sophrology allows us to open up the perspective on and cultivate what is happening there that is positive. You know, what are the resources that have allowed me to come to that day? What did I learn along the way? What were my strengths to go through these experiences, even if they only feel negative at this point in time? But when you close your eyes, and only when you're ready, you know, we don't rush into working with the past until level 3. So we make sure people are nicely grounded in their body, that they've developed a positive outlook on their future, and we work. We try to really enhance all the positive from the past through visualization, through body awareness. And it's really life-changing, because then you understand, okay, I acknowledge the tension I've been through, the trauma, but there's something else there, you know, as well. And that's a resource we all have, and why not use it, you know?
Of course. I mean, my goodness, you look at this and you're like, you know, if it's something that I can reframe my past so it empowers me, why not do that? You know, because a lot of times, you know, we could have that one teacher that said something, maybe, you know, they weren't trying to be disempowering, but they said something like, oh, you'll never be good at this. Or parents maybe really well-meaning, you know, kind of saying things that are disempowering, or having these experiences, and be able to change that and move forward. It really puts people on such a positive foot.
Yeah, totally. I think, you know, to be able to be in the present moment fully, you have to have the ability to let go on the past and the future. And I think these practices allow you to take a moment to look into these other dimensions. So at some point where you feel comfortable about them, it's much easier to let them go, because it's easy to say, oh, you have to live in the present moment, or that's all what there is. But if you feel anxiety, or you're ruminating on your past, it's very difficult to attain, you know. And sometimes we have to take the time to look into those other dimensions to feel confident and at ease in the present moment.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, and then when we look at how we can use this in our lives, and again, I want to remind our listeners, when you first shared your story, you talked about how for a week you did this practice, and it was like 10 minutes a day. So it's not something that takes a whole lot of time to start to implement in your life.
Yeah, I think, you know, we all struggle a little bit with this notion of time, and always think there is no time. And I think when you when you start to practice sophrology, you have a different relationship to time as well, and I think you feel the benefit of that practice. So therefore, you're more likely to create the time for these time. And I think I say 10 minutes, but it could actually be just 3 minutes, and 3 minutes will be already a great thing to do. And I don't think sophrology should be an extra pressure in your daily life. I think it should just, if it's done on your way to work, if you're commuting by bus and you can just close your eyes there for 3 minutes and use one of the exercise to connect with yourself, then this is great, and you might do it again just before you sleep, and that will add up. It's like a cumulative effect, and the more you practice, the more after a time in stressful situation you're more able to have this this distance with events that allows you to decide, okay, how I'm going to deal with this now. How does it impact me? And it just naturally comes that, okay, I go to my breath because I know that there is some resource there, or that feeling I felt during my sophrology practice, I can connect with that right now. So a little bit of practice then just helps you to quickly go back to this positive state in your daily life, helping you to deal with events in a different way.
Are you finding that people who use sophrology in their lives tend to be happier and things don't bother them as much?
Yeah, I think they do. Like I hang out with a sophrology tribe here in London, and when we have our meeting, that's what I note. I'm like, yes, it's funny, but they all kind of smiling, and they're ready to take responsibility for what they experience in their life. It's and that's the difference. Sometimes you can't be happy on a daily basis. Life is life, and there's difficult stuff happen, but it's more about having the tools that okay, I can deal with this, and I'm in the moment trying to deal with that, being able to perhaps ask for help, or having the awareness that this is actually difficult, and I think that makes a big difference, because then you can really perhaps get the support you need, or have the awareness, or take this time out for yourself that you need. And and I think it's hard to know what my life would be without it. So it's hard to know, but I really think that I'm I'm a calmer and more relaxed person generally, because I have this kind of sense of hope that things can go well, and that I have the resilience,
Mm-hmm.
So that helps, I think.
Well, and what are some tips for our listeners that they can start incorporating this into their daily life now?
Yeah, so, I would say these recordings on my website are a great way to start. I've purposely done them so it's not long. The first one, I think, is just 6 minutes, and it takes you through that body scan. So that might be a good way to start, and then seeing how you feel about it, and if it resonates with you, and just trying to implement those 6 minutes for perhaps the next 10 days, and then moving on to the next exercise. I think there's no rush to move through the method. I think the more you practice one exercise, and you're ready for the second one, and that's where the power of sophrology starts to kick in. It's by simply repeating, and also writing down. In sophrology, at the end of a session, we usually write down what we experience, or we share it with someone that maybe in a group. If you do a group practice, you'll share it with people who are there. Just naming what you experience, and we call it phenodescription. So it's a way to simply describe sensation without judgment, or your perception, not trying to analyze why you felt this and what's the story behind that. Just saying, this is how I felt today. I felt some warmth, or I felt my shoulder were really tight, or my breath was free, and then as you practice through the day, the following days and weeks, you will go back to what you've written, and you can clearly notice how your awareness deepens. Your sensation now becoming clearer. You're able to describe more. You're more aware, and this is how you witness that change within you, and that's a really interesting way to notice your transformation as well.
So overall, what do you feel the future of sophrology is going to be?
So, I'm really confident that now something has really opened up for beyond the continent. I see it in London, like sophrology is really becoming part of the conversation. And I think, it can only grow because it's proven to be effective on the continent. I mean, it's been around for so many years. It's nothing new, in fact, although it's new for English-speaking countries, and internationally, I think, as I said, in France, Switzerland, Belgium, and Spain, it's been around for a long time. So I think it's just spreading the word, like you're helping me to do today, so kindly, and just really giving access to as many people as possible to the practice, and I think it's a great. It can complement other approaches people are already doing, and I think it can be an alternative for those who are struggling with the practice they do now. So I only see quite a lovely. A lovely future for sophrology. I think it will help many more people.
I think so too. I mean, I have checked out other practices where they're like, do this for 2 years and you can get to this mindful state, or this state where things are not bothering you. But, to follow this practice and be able to implement it now, I mean, what a gift that is.
Yeah, it is actually. It is. And it's something to try and something to explore for sure.
Well, Dominique, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about the work you're doing and your new book?
Yeah. So my book is available on Amazon.com. It's called The Life-Changing Power of Sophrology. And there's my website, which is b-sophro. So it's sophro.com. And that's where the recordings are. And I'm on social media, like I'm on Instagram, I'm bsophro London, on Facebook. And I regularly write blogs as well and do video content. So, I'm really growing a community of people who are practicing sophrology, who've read the book. So you're really welcome to join the conversation and ask me questions, or always happy to connect.
Oh, for sure. And you're there. You've got lots of great resources for people to connect with you on your website. Dominique, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
No, thank you. Thank you, Marianne.
Well, thank you, Dominique. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you, and of course, to talk about your new book, The Life-Changing Power of Sophrology. Again, The Life-Changing Power of Sophrology is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all indie bookstores. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. You're listening to Moments with Marianne. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.